What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to Hot Take Tuesday. We are reacting to hot takes, giving you my thoughts on a scale from piping hot to ice cold. Piping hot meaning unlikely, most unlikely, not going to happen. Ice cold meaning it's a weak take. It's probably going to happen. It's realistic. It's not hot at all. So, if you would like to be featured in the future for Hot Take Tuesday, make sure to join the Discord. The link will be in the description. Join the Discord. Every Tuesday, I go and ask for your hot take. I ask for everyone hot takes, and I'll pick the ones I like the most. Most likely the top six, top, maybe seven if there's just seven. Depending on the number, it all depends every single week. So, join the Discord so you can be featured in the future. So let's not waste too much more time. Let's get straight into hot takes. Oh, before real quick we get into hot takes, I just want to give some respects to Damar Hamlin. I hope he's doing all right. That was very scary to watch, to see that type of scene on television. It's an unforgettable moment, but it's also a moment that you want to forget about just because it's scary and it's just a young player that is going through a scary situation, almost did not make it. He's still in critical condition, but not forgettable. I didn't mean to say that in like a disrespectful way. Just like something you don't want to see happen. You want a rough situation. Hope he's all right. But now let's move on to Hot Take Tuesday. Our first hot take here comes from Big Boy Flex. If the Giants play the Vikings first, I believe they beat them. So, the Vikings are a very interesting team, as we have known. They have found bizarre ways to win by very little. They were down 33 points to the Colts, one of the worst teams in the league. Right back there. I embrace it. They barely beat the Giants. The Giants are 10-6, but the Giants are a team that can't really put the game away. Uh, Giants are a solid team. They're just not anything phenomenal or great or, a Super Bowl contender. They're definitely a decent playoff team, but, the Vikings have barely been winning all season long. It's not like it's just those two games, but it's not sustainable to win games off of 58, 60-plus yard field goals. It's just not a sustainable way to win in the NFL, especially when you're going to play the great teams. If you're going to make these little mistakes, keep a very good team in the game, you're going to lose. It's eventually going to bite you, and it's biting them right now. Just as they lost to the Packers. Took their chances away of really taking that number one seed. So, for the Giants to beat the Vikings in the wild card round, if they do play them, I'm not factoring in if the Giants play the Vikings. I'm just factoring in if the Giants can beat the Vikings this time. I'm going warm. I don't think it's very unrealistic. I think it's maybe a little unlikely, just because the Vikings have a little more playmakers, have a few more playmakers in offense. But the Giants do have a very good defense. But I'm going to go warm. I think it's a very good hot take. I think it's a fun one to talk about. As the Giants, they've been a very good team. They haven't put games away, but they did against the Colts, as they should have against the Colts, are just a horrible team. Probably the worst team in the NFL. So I'm going warm on that one. Hot take number 2. Have to... Hold up. Hot take number 2. For Fans Sports Talk Show. TCU beats Georgia in shootout and college national championship. Now, see, the thing is with this game, my number one key to the game, the decision maker, is the success on early downs for Georgia and TCU. If Georgia can get themselves into solid second, first, and third downs, like second and 6 or shorter, because once you start having second downs that are 7+ yards, it's deemed as a passing down more often than not. So that puts TCU's 3-3-5 defense, 3 down linemen, 3 linebackers, 5 defensive backs, and a very good spot in passing situations. So Georgia needs to be on schedule. They need to give themselves good opportunities on second and third down, because you become too predictable if it's more likely of a passing down. And when TCU's defenses, they're 3-3-5, they're gonna send extra guys from anywhere. Could be a defensive back. It could be a corner, a safety, a linebacker, slot corner. It doesn't matter where it's gonna come from. Strong safety. TCU is gonna send an extra guy, and you gotta be able to determine who that is and how that's just something that you gotta keep an eye on, because that's a very difficult situation for some teams, especially for any team in college, really for any team when you don't know where a blitz is coming from. It could come from anywhere. Very difficult to defend and watch out for. So Georgia has to get into these shorter yardage situations. They have to be able to control the game. They can't control the game. TCU can very well be looking at a national championship in college football. TCU last week versus Michigan, they ran a crap ton of misdirection. Now, if you stack up TCU's offensive line in the trenches against Michigan's defensive line in the trenches, Michigan would take that, personnel-wise. But TCU, with all these misdirections, had these Michigan players looking in the wrong spots, following to the wrong spots. So that's what made a huge difference. And that's what did it. So Georgia, very fast defense, right? Very quick to the ball. They have to be disciplined because they're a very fast team. But you getting yourself out of position, much worse. Because if you're going faster, you could be much more out of position than you would be if you... You know what I'm saying? This Georgia team flies to the ball. So this Georgia defense has to stay disciplined. That Georgia defense can't be disciplined, and they can't get success on early downs and make second and third manageable and unpredictable. TCU can very easily win this game. Very easily win this game. Those 4 sacks that TCU had against Michigan, those were huge. Every single one were huge. Because once you get behind, in a clear path, in a more often than not passing down in distance, makes it very difficult against this TCU defense. Now, TCU's defense is ranked 80th. 80th. Yet, they have the ability to drive you crazy and make it very difficult on your offense if you don't get good second and third down situations where you can become unpredictable. TCU's offense is 13th. So that offense is very good. Very dynamic. Georgia's defense is 11th. Georgia's offense is 8th. Matchup, just ranking-wise, it's just Georgia should just blow them out. A lot of people are going to think Georgia is just going to waltz to the championship here. They're not going to. They're not going to. TCU is going to make this game. That's exactly what TCU wants. So for TCU to beat Georgia in shootout in college national championship, in a shootout as well, I can see a shootout. But TCU beats Georgia. I'm going hot. Just because I think Georgia is just a better team. I think Georgia is going to find a way to win this game, pull it out, win their second conference championship in a row. Yeah, those guys from last year's team were hungry all year this year because they were tired of hearing, all these defensive starters are leaving. And Georgia's not going to be as good. They heard that. And Georgia was very good. Still number 1 in the country. So, I'm going hot on this one. I think Georgia's going to take this one. Next hot take here is from Kay in the building. Jim Harbaugh will coach the Denver Broncos. I'm going piping hot on this one straight off the bat. I like the idea of Jim Harbaugh coming to the NFL, coming back to the NFL, coaching a pro team. Jim Harbaugh did already say that he plans to return to Michigan, but that was before the season was over. And, you don't really want to send out the message that you're packing up and leaving after this year to your players when you have a lot of high hopes. And that's just not something as a leader you want to do. In the middle of battle, you can't just say you're going to pick up and leave. No. That's how you lose your locker room. That's how you lose your team. Jim Harbaugh is a fantastic coach. He's a fantastic leader. He will not do that. He's smart. Now, will he come to the NFL? That's a pretty interesting topic because it's been rumored quite heavily. The Panthers, there's been some reports that there's some interest in the Panthers. The Colts, he played for the Colts. He was quarterback for the Colts back in the 90s before Peyton. The Broncos, though, I think that's a very unattractive destination for any head coach. You gave up a lot of draft capital for Russell Wilson. He's not going to have a lot of draft capital to use to look forward to. Russell Wilson's older. You're giving him a huge contract, and he's just not looked like quarterback that is worth of the draft capital, which would have been valuable to a new coach. I'm going piping hot because I don't think Broncos are a very attractive spot for any coach wanting to coach. For anyone wanting to come and be the lead guy of a football team. So I'm going piping hot on this one. Next one we got. Sports Lover 247. If the Lions make the playoffs and play the Vikings, they will win. This is another fun one. Because, the Vikings, a divisional matchup too. Now, personally, I don't think the Lions are going to make the playoffs. I think the Green Bay Packers are going to sneak in there. Because it's really either the Lions or the Packers to win it in. Unless they tie and Seattle gets in. But I fully believe in the Packers and the way they've been playing there. They've been on a terror to make the playoffs. So if the Lions play the Vikings, which means the Vikings will be number 2 seed, which I don't think it's going to happen. I think they're going to be number 3. I think they're going to play the So say the Lions do play them though. I give the Lions 50-50. I think this is a 50-50 game. Lions are up and coming. They have plenty of holes as the Vikings do. Lions are very well coached. They played hard. Jared Goff has his great and horrible moments. Lions have Jamal Williams, DeAndre Swift, have some really good receivers. There's a lot that you like about the Lions. They still have a lot of work to do, though. The fact that they're getting to the playoffs this year is impressive. If they beat the Packers, which, as I already said, I don't think they will. But if they do play the Vikings and win, Lions win, I'm going cold. Cool. Cool is like right there before word. I just think it's unlikely that the Lions beat the Vikings. I think the Vikings have more power. Even though the Vikings defense isn't great. So the Lions could really run the ball and control this game. So I'm going to go warm. I'm going to go cold, actually, as it being likely. Because I actually did the opposite. I was going to go warm for the Lions beating the Vikings. But I'm going to go cold. Because I think the Lions can beat them. I think it's a little more likely than not. Lions could control this game. Now, do they have a defense? Absolutely not. When you're playing Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, T.J. Hawkinson, Dalvin Cook. Pretty good offensive line in Kirk Cousins. It's not that easy. It's not that, appealing. It's not going to be that easy for a defense. And could the Lions keep up with that? I don't know. Depends on it depends on the day that Kirk Cousins is having. That's all we got for that one. So Hot Take Tuesday. Sorry, I don't know why I said that. I'm just reading the title. But this hot take is LCCJS27. Even though the Packers have the easiest shot at making the playoffs, everything will go wrong. So, as I just mentioned, I think the Packers are going to make the playoffs. They're going to play the Lions, and I just think that the Packers are a much hotter, a much better, a team that's just playing better and flat out a better team than the Lions right now. I think the Packers are going to make it. I don't think the Lions will. And I don't think the Packers are going to have an issue with the Lions. It may be a close game, but what happened the one week where the Packers really didn't score any points against one of the worst against that time against at the time the worst defense in the league, the worst ranked. I don't know if they're the worst ranked right now, but I'm gonna go warm because I don't think everything will go wrong. If they win, they're in, and there's not like there's many other scenarios. So I'm going warm. Is it being unlikely that that everything goes wrong for the Packers? They don't make it. I think they make it. Next hot take here from Silver Sabs. Giants play starters in week 8 and stun Eagles in a blowout win. So I think the Giants are going to play their starters for a decent amount of the game. Maybe a half. And depending on how the game is going, they're just going to pull them or keep them in. If it's not close and the Eagles are pretty far ahead, I think they keep them in. Or no, if they're getting blown out and the Eagles are too far ahead, I think they sit them. There's no point in keeping on playing them. No point in trying to make anything crazy happen in Week 18 when you really make the playoffs. Don't risk any of your players getting hurt. Play one half. Keep your guys fresh for the next week. And, because if you sit them a whole week, it's nice to not play for a week, but then sometimes you're rusty a week after. We see many times with bye weeks sometimes. Maybe if a team clinches a bye week and they sit starters for 2 weeks, sometimes they're rusty. Now, 2 weeks is a big difference than one. 1 week is still a gap where you're just not in it. So it can definitely make a difference. So, Giants playing the starters, I think that's feasible for a decent amount of the game. If they do play their starters, I still think they're going to blow them out. I don't think they're going to blow them out. So I'm going to go hot. I'm going hot because he's saying that the Giants are going to win in a blowout win. I'm going hot. Last hot take of the video. I know I said 6 on the Discord, but there is 7. One more. Go for it. So it's from 4. I think it's Hard Lord. My bad. 69. Colts burn everything to the ground this offseason and tank another season. So they're going to burn a lot down this offseason. They're going to make a lot of big changes. They better. They need to. And, Chris Ballard's got to go. You're probably going to look for a new head coach. Depends on what quarterback you like. If you get one this year or next year, just accept the fact that you're not going to be good next year either. So maybe you wait till next year. Maybe you stick with an older guy. I know I hate the idea, considering we've done that for the last 4 or 5 years. We've stuck with old guys. Really 3. We need to go and get our franchise guy, but I think next year's class is going to be very good with Caleb Williams towards the top as well. I want to wait until next year if you just don't get who you want here. CJ Stroud is looking good. But if you have a chance to go out and get another guy that's even better next year, go get him. Maybe trade Stroud. Maybe trade the pick next year. Maybe trade the pick this year. Get more draft capital for next year. But I think you want to get a guy that far up that's going to have a big impact in the future. Maybe a tackle. Peter Skronsky. Paris Johnson. There's another guy I'm blanking on. But, in general, there's a lot of positions where you could go and look for impact players. Stephon Gilmore has 1 more year after this year. So you need to find a guy that's going to be on the other side of Isaiah Rodgers. Isaiah Rodgers is a solid corner, but you're going to need a guy on the other side of Isaiah Rodgers there. Just in general, you're going to need an edge rusher because Yannick Ngakoue might not come back this year. Maybe you do take that quarterback. There's so much to talk about and go through with this Colts team because they are so bad and there's so many different directions that they can take. Be here all day. But some of the other tackles that I didn't mention, I just pulled up a mock draft database. So, Broderick Jones, that's another one. I like Broderick Jones. Maybe that's a little high up there, but I don't think it would be a horrible pick. I think Peter Skronsky might be a tackle that's going to be taken a little later. Because I think he could be that guy that can go from 5 to 7 to maybe 20 to 25. Because if teams might look at him more of a guard than a tackle. If they do, he might go 20 to 25-ish. If team wants him as a tackle, maybe 5 to 7, 5 to 10. A wide range for him, depending on what position a team is drafting him for, who really likes him, what teams really like him, because he's a shorter arms and stuff. So there's something to watch out with him. But let's get more back on topic. But and tank another season, like I've said many times before, I don't really believe in tanking. Everyone plays. No NFL player goes out there and say, our goal is to lose today. Yeah, there are situations where you expect to lose, so you get more draft capital, to take advantage of a bad situation. But it's not like the players are going out and GMs and coaches are going out saying, yes, we're going to lose this game. Yes, we want a better draft pick. Yeah, you want a better draft pick if you know you're not going anywhere, but you're not going out there to say, hey, we're going to lose this game. There's no point in going out here and really trying hard. No, that doesn't happen. But Colts burn everything to the ground, take another season. I'm going cold. Not really a hot take. It's really what they're going to do. They're not going to be good next year. Don't know where they're going to be good again, because finding a quarterback is a very difficult process. Sometimes you get it just like that. Just like we went from Peyton Manning to Andrew Luck, or the Chargers went from Philip Rivers to Justin Herbert, or the Niners back in the day went from Joe Montana to Steve Young. I almost said Bryce Young. But yeah, that is Hot Take Tuesday. The first Hot Take Tuesday of 2023. And if you enjoyed, make sure to like, subscribe, put the post notification bell on if you miss any future videos. I thank you guys for tuning in. If you enjoy, make sure to like, subscribe, put the post notification bell on so you don't miss any future videos. That's all I got for y'all. This is JDW Sports Talk Show, and I'm signing off. Catch y'all later.